Well, George Goldberg knows what women want, so much so they pay him to meet their social, emotional and sexual needs. And the trend is on the rise. You see, George is a male escort and gets paid up to $1,200 for an intimate 2-hour session.
One of his clients, Kate, lost the love of her life last year, and in the grips of her loneliness and despair, she reached out to George. And he's not the only one. Kate interacts with 5 different escorts, and she's never felt more empowered. And we welcome now George here in the studio, and also Kate, who joins us live from Brisbane. Good morning, Kate. George, so let's talk about this. Is fascinating for a number of reasons. I mean, you left the corporate world, somewhere you'd been for decades, and got into this business about a year ago at the age of 51. Yes. Explain to us and to the viewers, like, why the pivot, where that idea came from, and I guess why you thought you'd be good as a male escort.
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, for the previous 10 years, I'd been dating extensively, and I think I loved meeting new people. And that gave me a really solid understanding of what women want and the chance to meet women from all walks of life. And so many of the women that I saw were wondering, where are all the good single men and the ones that understand how to treat a woman very well? A few of my female friends suggested that this line of work might be suitable for me. And when I was made redundant a year ago, I thought, well, look, now's the chance to step into it. So it was fairly natural for me to go from dating into this line of work.
So you used to work in the energy sector. Now you're giving energy of a different kind.
Well, it's a different type of renewable energy, you might say. Yeah.
So take us through, what does a typical date or session look like? Like, how does it work?
Sure. Well, look, every client is different, of course, so it's always customised. So usually the client will reach out to me via my website or social media, and we'll have a phone conversation. I like to get a sense of how the communication flows, just to see if we're on the same page, if I can provide what they want. And so I'll ask them a whole range of questions. I'll get to understand a bit of their backstory, to understand what it is they're seeking from a connection with me. Then we'll organise the details and logistics of where to meet. In most cases, they're quite nervous because it's a really unusual thing for many women to do. So we'll have a drink or a coffee and just get to know one another. And depending on what it is they're after, it might be just a social date or taking them for a long drive or something more intimate. So then it's really about just paying attention to what they're after. And I can elicit much of that on the phone call beforehand.
Hey, George, just quickly, it is a bold and probably ambitious claim to say, I know what women want. What do women want?
Well, first up, they want to feel safe. Online dating is a scary place for many people, and so they want to be made to feel really comfortable, to be listened to, and to be paid attention to what their needs are. So it's really not that difficult to get to the heart of what it is that women want, and to feel intimacy, because, like so many people, they've been lacking intimacy for, in some cases, a decade or more.
Yeah, OK, well, let's bring Kate in here. Kate, having lost your partner, and we're very sorry to hear that, you were in a pretty vulnerable state. So were you nervous the first time you and George met up?
By the time George and I first met up, no, not as much. And that is partially also because of George and his extremely easygoing, affable personality. It really is just hilariously funny. So he made me feel very comfortable. He was not my first. My first one had happened about a month before. And at that point, I was so nervous. My blood pressure was through the ceiling. I almost canceled twice. I had no one to talk to and just to even listen, to try to unpack, hey, it's okay to be nervous, et cetera, et cetera. So after I got through that first encounter with my wonderful companion, who I do still see, I decided that I was going to start an online business called ConsciousWomenHealing.com to be able to be there to help facilitate any kind of queries about anyone who wants to get perhaps back into the dating scene, or who thinks perhaps maybe they would like to see an escort. And I have this site out there now that will hopefully help with women making some of those decisions so they can feel empowered. Because this is about empowering. This is about healing. There is so much more to it than just the physical connection aspect.
Yeah, well said. So, Kate, George isn't the only male escort you interact with. You have a connection with, a current connection, is it with 4 others?
That is correct, yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, give us a sense of how that, what should we call it, Kyle's juggling act plays out.
Yeah.
It's actually not that difficult of a juggling act. I have researched and followed my instincts very carefully with choosing the companions that I've chosen. They each bring something to me in many different aspects that I want in a companion, whether it's physical or connection, friendship, however that works out. And each of them has continued to be a blessing in my life.
George,
I have one companion.
Yeah, sorry.
I have one companion.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. George, it's interesting to
on?
say that she feels empowered. So, without, like, how much does it cost for a woman to feel empowered?
Yeah, look, as you alluded to before, my minimum booking where it involves sex is $1,200 for 2 hours. Some of my other social services are much cheaper than that. When I say social, I mean just dating.
Like going out for a coffee,
a picnic,
or companionship or whatever.
Absolutely.
Sliding scale.
So you quote.
Exactly, yes. That's really clear on my website.
Yeah.
And so getting to know what the woman wants helps me determine what it is that's going to cost.
Okay, great. Was it awkward the first time to be paid money for sex?
It was, yes.
Was it? Yeah.
It's very different to dating. It's a transaction. So fundamentally...
Have you seen that great movie called Good Luck? Good luck to you, Leo Grey.
I have. It's an amazing film, and I think that's, talking about empowerment, that's exactly what that movie typifies.
It's a woman having to pay, a younger man in this case for sex after a long time with a former partner.
So do you think there's stereotypes in this business, George, that are incorrect and that you're kind of trying to rectify?
Look, in some ways, yes. So I'm not what people might think is your typical escort. So there is a lot of younger men who are super fit, have got the gym body. That's not me. I sort of meet perhaps a different niche. And look, I think the thing is that it's not just about sex, as Kate puts out. It's fundamentally about providing a great service and making women feel empowered, comfortable, confident, and really ready to perhaps get out there again.
And companionship.
Absolutely.
So there is a lot of lonely people in the world.
Certainly are.
So I guess companionship. Kate, lovely to get your insights too. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Kate. And thank you so much, George.
A pleasure.
Fascinating.
Thank you very much. Fascinating indeed.